is another factor agencies cite on their list of enhancements they'd like to see in security solutions. I asked Anil Karmel, co-founder and CEO of RegScale and former Deputy Chief Technology Officer of the National Nuclear Security Administration, what the FedRAMP program could do to speed up its approval process and make it more efficient. Anil Karmel of RegScale, it's great to see you. Thanks for joining me again. What would you like to see FedRAMP do to make it easier, faster, more efficient maybe is a better word, for people to get through the program and be able to serve customers in government?
Well, ultimately what we're seeing in industry, which FedRAMP has helped take a hand in, is leveraging automation and standards. Right, so FedRAMP had a hand and partnered with NIST in creating this new standard called the Open Security Controls Assessment Language, right? A machine-readable standard to submit and assess compliance packages, right? As opposed to manually having to stare and compare what changed in these documents. So leveraging standards and automation is the way that we're going to be able to get more cloud service providers authorized faster and deliver tangible business value to the government.
Do you have a sense of where the greatest potential is for automation in that process, Anil?
Well, so I mean, it's a couple steps. So first is in the actual management of those packages as they're created. So you have to create the packages, right? But keeping those packages continuously up to date is a manual, time-consuming process. So from a CSP perspective, being able to, cloud service provider, being able to integrate with the tools that you have already to keep your packages up to date is one area where automation can save a lot of time and money, right? Then outputting those packages in both a human and machine-readable format is a way that you can save a lot of time and money, because the recipient of those packages can quickly assess what those changes are because they're presented in a machine-readable file that can be parsed versus a human that has to go read those. And now you're able to find what those actual challenges and problems are, where compliance becomes an outcome of good security.
As the process of getting into the program evolves, what are you seeing evolution-wise for the program itself? How are you seeing FedRAMP respond to the changes in the threat landscape that have evolved over the last 11 or so years that it's existed?
Well, I applaud the FedRAMP program for understanding that automation was the only way that the program is going to be able to scale to meet the needs of the government to consume secure cloud services. So developing and employing automation in the program so that cloud service providers can be quickly assessed and continuously monitored to provide secure cloud services to the government is really the only way that FedRAMP is going to be able to consume and deliver packages that can be authorized for the government to go use and say, yes, this has been certified.
So 11 years in, the threat landscape looks a lot different. The technology landscape all across government looks completely different than it did a decade plus ago. What do you anticipate happening in the next 2, 3, 5 years, and how would you like to see FedRAMP follow that trend or walk alongside that trend in order to be prepared to meet whatever those challenges are?
Absolutely. So security right now, as you stated, the threat landscape is continuously changing. The tools that we have implemented and are being developed will continuously evolve, right? Compliance is traditionally done in paper, in Word documents and Excel spreadsheets that are instantly out of date the moment that they're created. So there's an inherent cadence mismatch between the threat landscape and the compliance artifacts that have to be developed to certify that we're doing what we say we're going to do. So it's not so much compliance as imagined, but we need compliance as implemented. So we need to effectively bridge the divide between security in the threat landscape and compliance. So this takes a new operational model, right, that you'll need to think about of how do you bridge the divide between these two. This has been done before, by the way. Development operations was created to allow you to securely develop and deploy applications into environments. So if you take the principles of DevOps, apply them to this domain of security and compliance in something you can think of as regulatory operations, now you can build RegOps pipelines to securely create a continuously compliant documentation, on demand that integrates with the security tools you have with that ever-evolving threat landscape, understand where the control gaps are, address those control gaps in near real time, and then output the documentation that stakeholders need to see, showing compliance as imagined is actually as implemented.
Neil, it's great to see you as always. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me, Francis.